Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the FPCJ press briefing. Today we have invited Mr. Masami Tamura, Director of the Climate Change Division, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to talk about Japan's positions toward COP19. And today's briefing is conducted in English. And before we listen to what Mr. Tamura has to say, would you please turn your cell phones to the silent mode? Thank you. Okay, if you are ready, please.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to this briefing session, Friday evening. Today, we had a meeting, cabinet task force meeting in the morning, and as you probably aware, the COP19 climate change meeting started last Monday. Today is day 5, and in the ministerial task force meeting, the government of Japan has decided its position to the COP19 and also beyond the COP19. There are two kinds of handouts in front of you, I think. One is a paper titled Actions for Cool Earth 8th, and the other one is Japan's new emission reduction target for 2020. Let me start with the Actions for Cool Earth. This January, Prime Minister Abe instructed us to set up a proactive diplomatic strategy to counter climate change. And COP19 is the main focus of COP19 is going to be the new framework after 2020, and also the assistance or finance for the developing countries. So keeping this in mind, we established the diplomatic strategy for countering global warming. The basic concept I would like to mention two things. One is we keep our long-term commitment of 50% reduction on global GHG emissions by 2050. And also 80% reduction for developed countries by 2050 as well. The second point is we believe that concrete actions are necessary to achieve this long-term goal. And if you go to the next page of the handout, in this strategy there are 3 pillars. One is innovation, second one is application, third one is partnership. Innovation is obviously a development of new technology, low carbon technologies. And sub-items for the innovation part is, number one is we are aiming to invest $110 billion from both public and private sources over next 5 years for research and development in energy and environment, particularly such as CCS, carbon capture and storage, innovative structural materials such as carbon fiber, or locally appropriate technologies, or the artificial photosynthesis, those kind of technologies. And we also are going to host the Global Energy and Environment Innovation Forum annually with the participation of leading scientists or decision makers on the climate change. Second pillar is about application. Application means the application of existing technologies which Japan is very proud of, but at the same time which is not necessarily used in developing countries and other parts of the world. So we hope that we can provide incentive for the particularly private companies, to utilize their low carbon technologies in other developing countries. And the one thing is that we aim at doubling the number of partner countries to the joint crediting mechanism over the next 3 years. And also, as a part of a sub-item for application, the government of Japan is going to launch a new satellite to observe greenhouse gases in fiscal year 2017. And third pillar is about partnership. The government of Japan is going to support developing countries with the 16 billion US dollar assistance from both public and private to developing countries over the next 3 years since 2013. This includes 2013, so 2013, 2014, and 2015, those 3 years. And also, we would like to mainstream the disaster risk reductions. We will focus on disaster risk reduction and utilize new schemes, such as standby emergency credit for urgent recovery scheme. We'll promote a substantial scale-up of private climate finance by utilizing public finance instrument. Those 3 pillars are main component of ACE, Actions for Cool Earth, and we hope that we will contribute to the success of COP19 through this initiative. And more detailed information are included in the other materials in front of you. And the second thing is about Japan's new emission reduction target for 2020. You are probably aware that Japan once submitted its 25% reduction target in 2009. I think, at the time of COP15. But after the East Japan earthquake and also the following nuclear incident, we are forced to review that target as well as energy policy, energy mix, and those kind of things. And this time, the task force, cabinet level task force, decided Japan's new target for 2020, which is 3.8% reduction compared to 2005 level. This target has been formulated as a target at this moment. And this target was determined without taking into the emission reduction effect by nuclear power, given the emergency policy and the energy mix is still under consideration. Probably you are aware that before the nuclear power station incidents, about 25% to 30% of electricity came from nuclear power. And at this moment, none of them are functioning. So this target does not include any emission reduction effect from nuclear power. And government of Japan will come up with a firm target based on the further review in line with the progress of consideration of energy policy and energy mix. So this target will be reviewed in future. And we hope that we will come up with a new and good one. So that's all for from my side, and I'm happy to take any questions from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamura. We will receive questions from the press people first. And would you please raise your hand, and if you have would you please identify yourself, and then with microphone, please put the question. Wilma? Okay. Then we will receive questions from anyone who would like to ask a question to Mr. Tamura. Just a moment. Microphone.
Marc Bellevaux from the Quebec delegation in Tokyo. Basically, well, you said that the actual target of 3.8% reduction compared to the 2005 level will be reviewed somehow. I would say that if, for example, the new energy policy of Japan is in favor of the resume of the nuclear plant, so basically at that time it could be, I would assume the amount could be increased, isn't it?
We hope so, yes.
Do we have an idea of how much percentage? I know it's guessing at this point, but how much percentage could it be increased?
I don't have that number. Well, we have to work on that. And we, before Fukushima incidents, we used to have 54 nuclear plant and all gone. And how much, it depends on the, first of all, the nuclear safety agencies. And then the safety is the utmost importance for the government of Japan. So we, at this moment, we cannot assume any number for the resumption of a nuclear power.
Okay. The lady.
Uli Winrich from the EU delegation here in Tokyo. I have another question. So it's 3% reduction compared to the 2005 level. And the previous target, the 25%, was in comparison to 1990 levels. Do you also have the figure now compared to 1990 level, what the new target would be?
About a 3% increase from the 1990 level, more or less. More or less.
Okay.
Jean-François Renaud from the Canadian Embassy here in Tokyo. Thank you very much for the presentation. I would have two questions. You mentioned that the reduction target could be reviewed in the future. Do you have a timeline for that? And my second question would be regarding those investment in innovation. You mentioned 110 billion and also support to a developing country up to 16 billion, both from public and private financing. About the breakdown for which share would be supported by public and which share would be supported by private financing? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It all depends on the first of timeline is concerned, depends on the energy policy and energy mix. Well, how fast, how quick we can set up. At the same time, in order to decide the nuclear power plant, we have to go through the certain procedures, nuclear safety agency, and also the consultation with the local government. At this moment, we cannot control this timeline. So as soon as possible, but I think that depends on the how quick we can set up the energy policy and energy mix. About the breakdown, I don't have the number for 110 investment, $1 billion investment, but for the 16 billion assistance package, about 13 billion is from public, yes, and about 3 billion is from private. The public means official development assistance, and also the finance called OOF as an official finance, such as JBIC loan, and next is the insurance. And private, when we call private, that means the joint loan associated with JBIC loan and that kind of public finance.
Okay.
Elaine Kurtenbach with Associated Press. Thank you for your presentation. I was wondering if you could tell us anything about how the talks have gone so far, what Japan's viewpoint
how
is.
what is
The
going?
talks in Warsaw. So how things stand right now in terms of potential for reaching some kind of new agreement, and also on the plan for Japan itself. I understand that the Keidanren has its own counter proposals. How far apart are the government and the business community on this issue? Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the COP19, the new framework after 2020 will be decided in COP21 in the next 2 years in Paris. And the COP19 and COP20 are important stepstones for the agreement in COP21. So there are two issues for the Warsaw meeting. One is ADP, which is the new framework discussions. We hope that the really important thing for this COP for ADP new framework is we will agree upon the work program and major elements to be included the work plan for the next year, so that we can discuss the major elements to be included in the new framework for the climate change. And another important thing is finance and developing countries assistance. So we hope that we can contribute particularly for that part of discussion through our initiative, the Actions for Cool Earth. Second question is about Keidanren relationship. We think, yes, this is really ambitious target, and it's gonna be energy saving, energy efficient, renewable energy, HFCs and other gas and sinks and reservoirs. We are going to put maximum effort, and Keidanren and the business community will also understand and join us for the effort to combat climate change.
Okay. Second question?
During the STS forum, the Prime Minister Abe have mentioned the creation of a conference on energy. And here, well, I've got in your report, Global Energy and Environment Innovation Forum. Is it the same kind of activity, or it would be a different one, this one?
You are very right. Same.
That's the one?
Yes. Okay. A little bit more, yes, the idea came from there.
So this means
a little bit more details.
This means that it will probably be held after the STS forum, like next year in October.
Yes.
It will that be in Kyoto or in Tokyo?
Yes. It's going to be in Tokyo.
In Tokyo.
This meeting will be in Tokyo.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Next, please.
One other question is, do you have a specific number for how much of a difference the loss of the nuclear plants makes in terms of total emissions?
No, I don't.
Okay, if there's no questions, we'd like to close the session. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.